Great.
All right, hey, thank you for joining me. This is episode 31. What's good, Nate? Where you? First of all,
Hello,
where you at?
Jay.
Where you at right now?
I am in Los Angeles
Nice.
in Studio City. No, not in Studio City, in Van Nuys. You know where Van Nuys is? You know the valley?
Yep, yep, I do. So you've been traveling back and forth a lot, right? Have you been traveling back and forth
Yeah,
from New York to LA?
I am now living in Los Angeles.
Wow.
It's the first time I've been in New York for 20 years, and I am dating this woman. She lives here in the Valley, and I went to a convention or a summit in on February 24th, and then I came to LA for her grandmom's funeral, and I have not left.
You're like, wow, to hell with this. You know what? The weather's out here nice. The weather's nicer. Everybody smiles like me.
Crazy. I was out for a jog last night around 1 or 2 a.m. And one thing that I've noticed, but I haven't really let wash over me, the smells of flowers as you're jogging around. You hit boom, honeysuckle, boom, roses, boom, and it's. I've never smelled anything like that in my life. It is so cool. I've been exploring all these neighborhoods. Every day I get outside, I jog, or I get in the sun, and it's really helped.
Yeah, it's definitely helped. For I mean, me,
Ah,
I mean, how did I wound up coming out here because we were on vacation. Kelly and I were on vacation, and for those of you listening, this is a really cool story. We're on vacationing, and when you're with someone for a long time, there comes a spurt where like you just start arguing over little stuff. You know, and like people are like, "You two okay?" And I mean, you argue so much over little stuff. To everybody else on the outside, it looks like you're fighting, but to you, it's just like a normal conversation, and that just comes with the territory or whatever. So, what happened was we got into kind of a bad way before we got on vacation, and we go to the hotel, and she's like, "Do you want the top drawer or the bottom drawer?" And I'm like, "Bottom." And then we just start laughing, and we're just like, "Why are we fighting?" That was my coming to Jesus moment for my girl, and she was like, "I like LA, and I want to stay here." That was at the beach house in Hermosa Beach, and then 3 years later we moved. We moved here. We
how do you like it?
we looked at houses, right? We looked at houses, but we knew where we wanted. So we visited Santa Monica, West Hollywood, but we used Hermosa Beach, like beat Hermosa Beach as a platform. Show me why this place is better than Hermosa Beach, and just like smoking, like find give me one reason why I should. Couldn't find one reason. Here I am, Hermosa Beach. So cool. So are you
Yeah, what a beautiful place you have down there, and perfect for you and your lifestyle. It's perfect.
Yeah, hey, listen, you are the king of housewarming parties, man. That was so much fun, dude. Amber says hello. Amber says, "What's up, Nate?
Amber,
Nate Dog."
Amber,
Yeah,
hey Amber.
yeah, we're doing a live thing on this now too.
Oh man, I love that woman.
Shoot.
She's
So
got a beautiful baby. I have to check in with her.
yeah, a little alien. I know they all come out looking like aliens.
You know,
Pop out like, "Take me to your leader."
yeah, right. That
Yeah,
baby was gonna be a volleyball player. It's probably gonna be. She's tall. Her man is tall.
yeah.
Woo!
Former athlete at UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio,
Mm.
opposite. People forget. You know, we run her in co-ed games, and we run an X where she's hitting the two, and I'm like, when I first met her, I'm like, that girl's hitting front twos off the X on a men's height net, dude. I'm like, what? They started digging her because after a while, you're not like, oh, she's not gonna hit it because she's a girl. When people started playing her like a dude, they started picking it up, but getting her at the beginning was awesome.
One time when she first met me, she thought I was little Josh because we were the two little guys in Central Park. This was like 20 years ago or whenever it was, and she thought that I was him. And I was like, I mean, we're both small, but really? Like, come on. Like we got dark hair. Okay, I got you. But anyway, we became good friends.
there's no assuming you guys had the same body type, which you don't. You were built a little bit better. Assuming that you had the same amount of hair, that wasn't true. I mean, he was kind of losing his. You used to have yours. The dude never smiles, and you smile all the time. Can't you just differentiate two short people by their smile? Assuming both the jump high. I think both of you guys really jump high, though. I think your jump for indoor beach and grass is the same because I think your indoor muscles cross trained you to jump on the sand, and then when you came back, you already had your muscle memory of the indoor approach. Where like a lot of beach players that jump high in the sand, you would think they jump high in indoor, and they don't because they don't have the muscle memory of the runway and whatever. So you out jumped him on. I think the sand was a wash, but I think generally I think you had a good you had a pretty healthy jump. First time I met you, right? Central Park.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
man.
we beat Justin and Josh.
Well, whatever.
That's
It was a
cool.
fun.
That was fun.
It was fun. I grew up playing on sand in a kind of a Central Park like place in Allentown, Pennsylvania called Cedar Beach with my best friend, and he was, you know him. He was this 6'1" black dude in Pennsylvania, and there were two black dudes that were playing volleyball at this level in Pennsylvania, and it was 1996, and it's when Penn State won the national championship.
Right. That
They
was the
just
year
got
after. Yeah.
Yeah, like was it the year after?
Yeah.
So Ivan Contreras was on their team, and
Ooh.
it was and you can actually speak much more about this because I don't really check in with volleyball, but Penn State was the one of the only teams that could hang with the West Coast teams. So when we played at a place called Emmaus High School, there was us and Parkland, and then a couple teams from Lancaster. But we were ranked fifth in the state, and Walt was 6'1", had a 45-inch vertical, and we played beach together. And we knew that, I mean, I was not going to get to a certain level, but Walt, he's still short, but he had the athleticism to get to a professional level. So when we were 19, I said, okay, I'll go to Florida with you. Let's go to Florida, and we'll play. And this is when I was a freshman. So it must have been 1997 or 1998 or something. And we went down, and he picked the beach, and we went down to Fort Myers Beach, Florida. He chose Fort Myers Beach. Everyone cleared out of Fort Myers Beach like 20,000 people left the town,
Yeah.
as opposed to like Miami or Fort Lauderdale where there's good players. It was the two of us down the street from the Hooters playing by ourselves, and with other people. We would travel to tournaments maybe once or twice for the summer, but it was kind of a wash. And the point was to get him a better partner, to get him someone that he could level up with. But we never got that point. And although his athleticism was so advanced, he never had that like killer mental. And at the top level, it's that mental prowess that separates a lot of those elite athletes.
Yeah.
And when I talked to Canyon after playing with him indoors a little bit
Canyon Ceman, for those of you guys at home.
yeah, I asked him, I said, what is it at that level where everyone's incredible? You were, silver medalist or whatever. How do you win? How is it at that level? Because I've played with you and seen how you are a different breed of human than what I'm used to
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah. But
And
wait, go ahead.
he said, you need at least one thing when you're playing at that level that you can count on. He said, I always knew that I was going to get 1 or 2 or 3 aces a game, and that was going to set me aside and give us an edge. And it was my serve, and I leaned in on my serve very often. I thought that was so cool talking to him at that having that conversation with him, just a man who had already gone through his career and now is looking for the next chapter. What a great guy. And it was so fun to see him and play with him, because I used to play him as a video game. He was like I could choose Canyon Ceman, and here I was passing to him, 15 years later.
He's right though. On that serve to space, dude.
Yeah.
And I mean, God, we can use him as an example, Nate. Like, he's one of those guys. You're playing doubles, and there's service lanes in doubles. I mean, just like indoor. And his serve to space was so fast. if you're not literally like, one move to the ball or like facing your angle where you have like that one step, it's gone.
Mm.
It's gone. And let me tell you something. If Canyon Ceman got three aces in a set, the that doesn't even tell the whole story. Those are balls that are actually aces. Okay, we're not talking about the balls that he made you pass out of system that you got to bring back where the hitter loses his court vision, which is contingent on a call. I guess at that level, I get that. But if you're on under system under constant duress, man, not only you 3 points better because you got the three aces,
Yeah.
and that's
Facts.
very, very. I'm so glad you brought that up because you can say that about the pee wee volleyball, kid volleyball. You could say that high school volleyball. You'll see a bunch of kids that can't pass and like an underhand serve, 25 straight points, and you'll go college. Right, on Penn State, Ivan Contreras had a very good jump serve when jump serves they weren't a thing yet. They were a thing, but not a thing where like all six players were doing it. They were specialists,
Yeah.
with the exception of Brazil in 88 and 92, who had four guys. Not everybody was doing it. The U.S. team had Eric Sato. He was their jump serve specialist. Right, he come in and he play some defense. So it's so cool that serve is king, man. Serve is just
Yeah.
king. And if
What's
you
it
look at
like
every
now? What's happening in the professional world now? Is everyone jump serving? Is that how it?
well for outdoor volleyball because you um have to pass with your forearms. Jump floaters are nice because they always catch you high and you can't just zoom. For those of you listening at home, I'm gonna say something you're not gonna like. It is not illegal to receive serve outdoor on the sand with your hands. It's just illegal to double hit it. So, and it catches a lot of referees by surprise. They blow the whistle. You look at them like, what's the call? And they got to call something because they blew the whistle. Oh, it was a carry. It looked funny. Oh, it's stuck. Or, CBVA, since you live in LA, and I don't know if you go to any tournaments, CBVA actually handwritten into their rules no matter what. Double hit, you can't. So they let everybody off the hook as far as making calls. It's illegal. So it depends on the league. But the general volleyball rule is not illegal to receive serve. Just like old school indoor rules, everyone thought it was just forearms only. No, it's never illegal. It's just illegal to double or carry it. It's just so
Mm,
difficult to do it without doubling or
mm,
carrying. Nobody did it.
yeah.
And we played indoor at a time when
Yeah.
right? In indoor they changed the rule in 2001. So to answer your question, the art of the float serve, no one really messed with the jump serve because if you hit the top of the tape, right, dead ball. They got the ball back. Remember, because if you remember, there was no let serve. So after there was a let serve allowed, and after it was rally, those things kind of offset each other. You took a chance, and you're like, what the hell?
Right.
So Nate, there's a bunch of things I'd love to talk to you about, and that shit just
All
fell
right.
again. We're just gonna leave it. Um, my set's falling apart.
I
Um,
loved it. It's great.
yeah, it's my little volleyball backdrop. So we got a lot of things to talk about, but the real reason why I got you on is I want to talk about Groovy Projects.
Okay.
This is something you've done a lot of films and you've done a lot of television, and it seems like every time I turn on my TV, there's a guy waiting tables, there's a guy, crashing into a car, or some guy in
Yeah.
a medical outfit doing CPR on someone. I'm like, damn, it's Nate. Damn, it's Nate.
Yeah.
Damn, it's Nate.
Yeah.
So, but I think something you found so in the middle of all of this, and I don't know if it was on an up or a down, and I want you to walk me through it. I'm gonna give you the floor because you know I could talk. Um, Tell everybody what Groovy Projects is.
Okay, cool. So I got to New York, uh, and I quickly got my equity card, which is, for those of you who don't know, which is the union, the stage union. So all Broadway performers are equity. And so I got my equity card doing a children's show called Amelia Bedelia, the Baby, and Other Storybooks. And I traveled around and I got my equity insurance and I got the card and I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's play ball with the professionals. Let's go there. And very quickly I realized that that was not my dream, because I had come up with this fusion of jazz music and hip hop music. So the two loves of my life in the music world are old school 90s hip hop
Hmm.
and jazz tunes like Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra, the American Songbook. So I took those two art forms and I combined them. So I would, it was kind of like Diggable Planets. You remember Diggable Planets?
Oh, da, 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 da. I'm cool
They,
like that.
they, right?
Hmm.
So I went to see a show at Juilliard, and it was the first year that Juilliard had their jazz program. So these people, Wynton Marsalis handpicked these guys, 17 of them, guys and girls, to get paid, to get a stipend to go to Juilliard. So I saw them in a show, and I thought, they will get it. They will totally understand what I'm trying to do. So I was in a movie at the time. I was paying them with my waitering money to rehearse with me. They would roll their eyes because these are the golden children at Juilliard, and we did this album. So I was in this movie called Mineville with Paul Sorvino's kid, Mike Sorvino, and I was at a party, and I met this woman because I was playing my demo with these Juilliard kids for Mike Sorvino, and she said, "I gotta get this CD," because they were CDs at the time. And I said, "It's in my demo." She happened to be a producer on As the World Turns, and she said, "Do you want to come be on my show?" And I said, "Well, I'm trying to pursue this musical artist." That's the track, because Justin Timberlake, if you're a singer, you're allowed to act, but they don't let actors sing. They don't let Scarlett Johansson sing. They don't let uh, uh, Jennifer Lopez. They let sing because she was in Selena, whatever. But at the time, it was very hard to cross over from.
I mean, you can name them. There's so few, right?
Yeah,
Jamie Foxx, he's all purpose. It's Jennifer
yeah,
Lopez in Living Color. She's a dancer and singer and then got
yep.
into acting. So it was easy for her to get into acting and then come back.
Yeah, exactly. So you're exactly right. So that was my thing, and so her name is Jennifer Maloney Prezioso now, and she has won a couple Emmy awards, and she ended up later producing some Broadway, about 5 or 6 Broadway shows, got a Tony Award. So that's what I was actually going to come out to LA to pursue my music and to pursue my music and acting. And when I met her, I said, no, I'm going to stay in New York because to have someone that is successful believe in you that much, that's what you're looking for as an artist. So she had done well so far, and she saw the commercial viability of what I was doing. So she wrote this movie musical around this fusion of music, and we very quickly after we finished, we sent it out to all the people that we knew. I'm sure I sent you one, and one of the guys who won the Tony for Hairspray said, "This is a movie. This is storytelling." So within the month, we were in New Line Cinema, and we were pitching New Line on this movie musical that she had written around my fusion of music, and they loved it. We were talking to the VP. We weren't just talking to a secretary, but it was a time when Elf and Lord of the Rings was coming out. This is 2003 or four, and and then for the next few years, people thought, "Hey, this is great, but we're looking for Justin Timberlake or Jake Gyllenhaal or someone to be in it." And we kind of stuck to our guns. Where Sylvester Stallone stuck to his guns about Rocky, and Matt Damon stuck to his guns about Good Will Hunting because they wanted to hire Chris O'Donnell for that. So in our I would say ignorance and naivete, we stuck to our guns, and this multi-million-dollar project really never jumped off the ground.
Right.
So that a lot of my time in New York was making music with uh, fantastic geniuses from Juilliard, Manhattan School of Music, different incredible depth and rapping and beatboxing, and I got a chance to work with some really cool people. I got to work with Peter Guns, who's now in Love and Hip Hop, but he's known for that song, Uptown Baby, if it wasn't for the Bronx.
Oh,
He
yeah, Lord Tariq.
Lord Tariq, and
Yeah,
yeah,
if
keep
it
it going.
wasn't for the Bronx, this rap shit probably never would be going on. So tell me where you from? Uptown, baby. Uptown, baby. Come on.
Right? Yeah. So
Damn, you
Peter
got
was
the right
on
man for the
it.
job.
I love it. And
Got it.
I got a chance to become friends with Alan Cumming. He did a song with me, which was really awesome because he's won some Tonys and he's such a cool guy and cool performer. Jane Monheit. So I did a bunch of music, mixing jazz and hip hop. And I did some TV bits. Like you were saying, I did some TV bits, little things, nothing huge. Um, but I was pursuing the music, and um, it never popped off. So basically, what happened was I made 5 albums, and Jen was making Broadway shows, producing Broadway shows. So I had all my eggs in that basket.
Okay.
And I come from a background, and I was very proud of what I've done and what I was creating with some really amazing people. But we knew that the song style and the genre, we needed that movie push because it wasn't going to be a top 40 kind of thing. It wasn't like the time now where you can put it up on Spotify and people will find you.
Agree.
So I guess to break it down, what happened after that was she had the idea of shooting one of my arrangements at a school because I come from my parents were educators. My mom still deals with preschool. My dad was an educator. My sister, my brother-in-law, my other sister was a teacher. So I come from a camp counselor and teaching background. And I my best friend Jen, when 2011 when this happened, a lot of bullying was happening. A lot of bullying. This when Tyler Clemente committed suicide. A lot of things happened, and Jen had the idea about shooting a music video for kids about bullying. And we did that. So we shot this music video in upstate New York at a school, a BOCES school, where 9 school districts send their kids to this one school with behavioral problems or any type of problems. It's kind of a last chance school. So we shot that video in around 2012, and I kind of found my come to Jesus moment or my eureka moment where I was taking what I love and combining it with education, which is part of who I am. So the Groovy Project, that was the name of the song, was called the Groovy Project. And basically it was a beatboxer that I had met his name is Yuri Lane, who is famous for being harmonica beatboxing. So he looped, and I really didn't beatbox at the time. He looped this really cool beatbox loop, and then I had an upright bass player. Right, so we had this loop, and then I would sing over it with a whole bunch of people, and then rap. So we turned this rap, which was originally about racism, we added this thing about being um, a good human. So that rap for that video, which was a one-shot video, Joe DeBonis, Jen's friend, who's won 10 or 11 Emmys, he came up and shot this really cool one-shot video. Uh, we did this with about 120 kids, and me walking through, performing with them, and them doing these things, turning around signs, skateboarding, doing whatever. The lyrics to that, I still remember. They were about being a good kid. So it's awaken a revolution with your friends, and something's gonna change. Victory in the end. Start writing petitions, expose what's missing. Refuse to listen to the hiss and all distance. Some of y'all doing great, working hard through school, improving the world. You found kindness was cool. What do you want? Just education? Y'all had a movement with the students of the nation, boys and girls rising up to change the world. For this to unfurl, gotta dig for your pearl. Not just you, of course, the people that you reach, the strength y'all have, the walls y'all breach. It's right there, there. You got all the power, can't stop till you're done. Make use of every hour. You got the key, it's your generation. Changing attitude, a grand realization. Man in the mirror, be proud of what you see. Fascinating world when you live humbly. You got my RESPECT. Thanks for inspiration you give to me. What's a rainbow without all its colors? What's so special if you're just like the others? Yo, different is cool. Yo, different is unique. Different is a goal that innovators seek. Need kids everywhere to step up and do the part. Reach out with open arms. Reach out with open hearts. Change happens from laws. Change happens from art. Change happens from us. Hold my hand and let's start. So I did this song and I did that rap, and these kids loved it because celebrities retweeted it, and they were really proud of being part of something positive. And I thought, this is it. This is what I want to do. I want to use my art in this way. So I became fixated on trying to do this in schools in New York City, where I'm from. And I had been volunteering at a school in Brownsville, which for those of you who aren't from New York, Brownsville's really rough part of New York. So I
Think
would,
of Flatbush Avenue, except a little bit worse.
yeah.
That's why I'm from Flatbush, so
Yeah,
yeah.
and so my buddy, my volleyball player buddy, Lam Shin Lam, he was a principal at that school, and I was working in New York, and he said, "Just come, do anything. I don't care. There's no art in our school. Can you come? I'll pay you a substitute teacher's rate." And I was working in a restaurant, a famous restaurant at the time called Bagatelle. So I was like, "I don't need that money. I'll just volunteer."
Yeah, Bagatelle take care of you, boy.
Right? So I mean, whatever. But so I went to the school, and I started doing with little kids, with third graders. I started doing music history, and it was specifically Black history through music, right? Because it was 99% Black kids in this school. So we would go Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald, James Brown, and we would work backwards. We'd start with Drake, and we'd work backwards.
Oh, you did
Drake
present
was
the past.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's like the person that you love is influenced by this person, and the person that person was influenced by this person. So we were showing such pride in this music, which is the love that I have. This jazz, hip hop, R&B, rock, Motown, all came from the Black culture, right? So I was showing them how amazing the music is from, first of all, systematic oppression and really rough times came the best music ever created out of this country. And that is something to be really proud of.
Absolutely.
So we got all the way back to Billie Holiday and Strange Fruit and things along that line and going, this is something amazing. So yeah, so that was what I was doing with the third graders. And for the seventh graders, we were doing going through the curriculum. They were reading the Pearl and some other book at the time. We were having them write raps about the Pearl. And then so that's kind of where I got my uh, I don't know, I kind of got a little experience doing that, just volunteering and doing what I could with them. And I started loving it and learning as much as I could about what it's like for, first of all, the underserved population, and how do we go somewhere where they love being, whether it's YouTube
Hmm.
or it's times have changed now. Now it's TikTok, Instagram, right? But at the time it was
Right.
YouTube.
It's
Where
like,
are they going? Where do they want to be? And
hmm
go there, and then put a little spinach in their pizza or put some vitamins in their candy, right? So how do you do that? And that's what I became fixated on and obsessed with. So I started creating, and I started doing whatever work I could. Brooklyn, Bronx, Harlem, Queens. I just started working for other people, doing what I could in different schools, all underserved kids. By This happened for years. So that was in 2011. 2014 was the first year I went to Flint, Michigan. Started working in Flint. This was before the water crisis hit. So, but Flint, Michigan was still the second most violent city in the country. So I was so lucky to go out there with this amazing man called Kendrick Jones, who brought me out there to work with their kids. And when I was in Flint, I asked the kids, what did they want to write about? What did they want to share with the world? And one of the kids said, people think we're bad because we're from Flint and it's called Murder Town, but we're not our crime rate. And it like tore me up to hear that. And I was like, wow, okay, so that's our song. So we created this song, We Are Not Our Crime Rate.
yeah.
And it was so cool to see them. And at the time I was able to have the shop floor theater company work with me. So I was able to have, I think, 10 people part of our team creating this video, and it was really fun and gratifying. The kids loved it, and there were some really talented kids part of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just kept on doing that in New York, going to different places, working for the Child Center of New York, for Children's Aid Society. And about 2 plus years ago, I was bringing in a lot of my Broadway friends because I have a performing background. So I have a lot, and when you get to our age, it's either they're doing really well or they're doing something else,
Yeah.
right? When you're in your 40s,
Yeah,
you can still
because
be,
it's
yeah, but you can still,
it's not a poor man's craft, right? You could you invest in it. You invest this money and you invest this time, and sooner or later you run out of money, or sooner or later you become an age where you're doing a running man. You're running, but you're standing still, and you got to say fuck this. I gotta I gotta get out of this. Unless you're independently wealthy and you just love it, and those people are so few. I mean no.
well, this is the thing. For me, I dabbled in the acting, and I never pursued it fully. I was still holding on to the dream of this movie coming out. That was my thing.
I thought you did good though. You had
And
a good career.
well,
Sorry, go
and
ahead.
well, I'm grateful for what I've done, but at the same time, it's a different thing. It's kind of like if you equate it to volleyball, there are very few pros out there. There are millions of volleyball players, and there are a handful of people that are playing on a regular basis, like Troy or like whoever
Yeah.
your friends that are doing it. There's very few of them, and
Yeah, I gotta
and
have him back on the show. He was awesome.
yeah, he's a.
I
I
I put him on
so
the show and he got all emotional. We started talking about Eric Zahn, the guy who one of our players committed suicide after AVP in New York,
oh no.
jumped out of the 29th floor in Atlantic City, and him and they weren't fishing buddies, but you become closer to some of these guys, and you know this guy's kind of misunderstood in his personality because he always tries to like say shit like to throw you for a loop like
Oh, Troy.
for example no Zon, it's like, what's
Okay.
up, Eric, how you doing? He's like, I went with my dick in my hand, you know. So it's like one of those guys that make you say, wait, what, you know. But for me, you know, the more you know him, the more you expect the line, and if he doesn't shock you, then you're friends. You know, so you become close to him in that respect. And Troy and Eric just started crying a little bit, and I'm like, freak, man, I didn't mean to do that. I was just trying to talk about volleyball and
That's
whatever. But Troy,
beautiful.
yeah, but we can I would love to have Troy back on the show.
Yeah, so
But I don't want
actually,
to
our
steer
buddy
away
Jeff,
from. Go ahead.
our volleyball buddy Jeff, told me that Troy is looking to do some nonprofit or impact work
Good.
where he when he travels,
Mm-hmm.
and we have yet to connect, but we've been going back and forth on Facebook talking about, I be so fast forward to today. The Groovy Projects is now a 501c3, and I have been in the impact space, meaning I've been working with people that are on this planet to do something and make it better in their way. So
Mm-hmm.
that could be, I care about the food sourcing, I care about trafficking, I care about the environment, I care about youth education, whatever it ends up being. So there's people that like myself that are dedicated to their cause. And so I've been part of this world for over 2 years now, and it's been very intentional. Where I've been going to these really cool summits and events for people that are out there actively trying to do some good in the world.
No doubt.
And one of them that I'm part of is called Nexus Global, and that's created. It was created in 2011, I believe, and it's created with next generation philanthropists, people that are going to be given a lot of money, and people like me, social entrepreneurs that are boots on the ground trying to do that work and have us in the same space and talk about what are the ways that are effective, and when these resources come available, they come to these because a lot of them don't have the money yet. They're the kids of these billionaires or multimillionaires. So yeah, so so my life now is focused solely on impact work, and how do I focus on educating and creating stuff that our youth is going to be really interested in. So about 2 years ago, I was bringing in some of my Broadway buddies. One of them I just was talking to right before we got on the call. His name is Daniel Watts. I would bring in. He was the lead in the Tina Turner musical, and he's on The Last OG, and he's a really one of the most talented guys out there. We I would bring them in or enlist them in some way because it was really cool for these kids. And then I have a friend, Margot Bingham, who used to volunteer with me in Brownsville, who's now doing really well on TV. She's got a Habit, Boardwalk Empire. She's just in New Amsterdam now. She said, "Why don't you get some famous people to do what you're doing?" And I said, "Margot, I know Broadway people, but you're as famous as I know. Like, I know,
Oh,
I don't know." She's like, "Well, I know Common, I know Questlove, I know." I'm like, "Okay, let's go." So basically what I've created and what I had been working on for years was a curriculum. It was a YouTube curriculum where we would go through YouTube clips, Kanye West videos, whatever videos, Drake videos, and then talk about it and how that applies to their social emotional journey and what they're going through and those prevalent issues that they're dealing with. because and I had curriculum from K-1, 3-6, and 6-12. So we would talk about really deep stuff that these kids were going through and help them navigate that really hard time in their life, and in a fun way. And then they would make music videos and do different things for YouTube, which is what they want to do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the whole mission, was to cultivate empathetic global citizens through discussion and the arts.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been doing
Yeah.
since then.
Let me tell you something.
What's that?
There's a bunch of things on my mind, but I want to start with the thing where it speaks to me personally, as opposed to how it speaks to other people. I was going to get back to Troy Field in a minute. Um, the one thing I always get from you, I mean, you always seem like this fun guy, and you always, you have this, you're like this old soul. You have this heart you wear on your sleeve, and your caring comes from the right place. I was looking for another word. No, fuck it. The right place, an original place, a meaningful place, a real place. Not because you have to, and because it's the right thing to do, but because also because you want to. They say the Lord loves a cheerful giver or whatever, and this and that. So, but the one thing from my personal thing, every time I talk to you, there's always a point in our conversation where you don't mean to do it, but you constantly remind me that symbolism's nice, activism's better. And I think that's why Troy Field came to you and asked what he can do, because there are some people, like Troy Field's an avid Christian, and I know he goes to a lot of Bible studies, and there's a group of AVP people that and they have their little Bible thing and this and that. So, and I think I said something, I didn't mean to be offhanded. I said, talking about it's one thing, doing something about it is the other, right? Like, I grew up in a church, Coney Island Gospel Assembly. And I was in the choir, and that's where my strengths played to the needs. I could sing. But what I did, 5:00, 5:30 every morning, twice a week, I would go to Brooklyn House of Detention or Rikers Island. I'm 16 years old, mind you, all right? And we would go to prison, and we would just talk to random inmates, anyone that wanted to talk. You want to talk about God? Fine. You don't want to talk about God? Let's talk about anything else. Let's talk about sports. Let's talk about why you in here. Talk about why this this whole jail thing and what led you here is not why it's not a good friggin' idea. So so it's one of those things. Every now and then I just get tired, and I want to share the message and this and that. And then I see someone like you out there just grinding and working all the time, and then I'm just like, man, you get me back into it. Sometimes the message prescribes a physical or a verbal spreading or amplification of something that's meaningful that could help people. And me, I just gave you an example on one thing's what I was doing about it. I was doing that at age 16. Me and my father, they would only let the men do it. Okay, the church, we're sexist like that, whatever. And Christmas, we would go and sing Christmas songs. The choir would go to Rikers Island and sing like Christmas songs, and then after that, we would just chat and this and that. So these are things where, like I said, symbolism's nice. Hashtag Me Too. Okay, yeah, you got everybody in. Activism is and it's not for everybody. And that sound like I'm casting aspersions on people who are not out there doing it. Not everybody can do that. I mean, Troy is not doing it, but there's some people, they just want to they want to know the how. Troy came to you because he wants to know the how. Yeah. And there's some people that they say they want to do it and they don't, and that's okay too. Chip a little money. Maybe their money is right. That counts too, Nate. So, so that's the first part I got from a personal perspective. And I wanted to put up a picture of Troy Field. It's a volleyball podcast, but cool. There he is. There's that man with the pink hat. He puts the H in hunk too, by the way. I'm a little gay for that guy. There it is. All right, that was Troy Field. Got him in there. You don't see it, but because you're not in studio. In studio, you get to see and hear everything, and it gets hot as hell in here too. So next time we do that, come with a tank top if you ever come back on the podcast, which I think you will. So that was my first point. And the second point is, I hate bullies. I fucking hate bullies, and I'm gonna lose some points on this podcast, and YouTube's gonna flag me for language. I fucking hate bullies, dude. I fucking hate bullies. Now, there's a bunch of ways that you know that people could get bullied, and bear with me on this. All right, I'm gonna bring it back. Um, there are people who get bullied in school because they're smaller and they're weaker. There are people that get bullied in school because their hair is white. They're not, maybe they're an albino because they look different, and people are afraid of what they don't understand, and the only thing they could do is just jab at it until they feel better about themselves. And then there's a level of bullying where people keep it pent up, where they just fucking explode. And this is where I was getting to. I went to John Dewey High School. I couldn't go to my zone high school. My zone high school was Prospect Heights, dude. Someone got shot the first day of school. So it was High School of Art and Design, which I got in because I could draw, or John Dewey, which was in Bensonhurst, which had a nice mixture of the Italians, the Chinese, the Russian Jews from Brighton Beach. Some of their brothers from Bed-Stuy. They were people from Queens. It was an independent study school. So what happened was I was getting bullied by this Russian dude. He was smaller than me. But I wasn't a fighter back then. I was a mama's boy. I was hugging up on my mama's leg. So kind of let him get away with it. And then there's another guy. And this guy happened to be Russian too. So this whole time I'm getting bullied. I'm getting hazed. Junior high school. Everyone gains up on me. I didn't have any friends. Scared to death to tell my family because my sister was part of this gang called MOB, and she's part of Zoo. She's part of every gang in New York. So I couldn't tell her because the whole, then it gets messy. Then you got a whole bunch of full-grown adults going to a junior high school and a high school beating up kids. So what happened was I'm trying to talk to this girl, and this Russian guy is bullying me in front of this girl. And I just try to walk away, and he punches me in the back. And then I just keep going. I don't fight back, and I leave like in New York, like a bitch. And then I go to the stairs in the hallway, and then I just stop. And something took over. I just snapped. Brooklyn style. Because snapping Brooklyn style is when you have to stand up for yourself, because if you don't, they get in our minds, and sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not, they think they get to do that whenever they want to. So somewhere in the middle of all of this bullying, I stopped and I changed my mind and I snapped and I went back, Nate. And I went into the locker room and he looks at me like this, and I grab him by the throat. And the guy punched me in the face 3 times and I didn't feel shit. And the next thing you know, before I even knew it, the dude's purple. I'm choking the life out of him. Like, you ever see Lord of the Rings, like Schmeagol wants the ring? I'm choking the life out of this motherfucker, right? And then
with those hands, come on, those hands.
There they are. So what happened was, the next day I leave school early. I skip out on class. And then I heard there was about 30 Russian dudes waiting for me at the train station. All right. Turns out this kid, knows people. Brighton Beach, he has friends, part of some gang or whatever. And then I never went back to school. For almost a year, I hid the fact from my mother that she thought I was going to school every morning. And I wasn't. I was going to the arcade in Coney Island, favorite Sportland, playing Gauntlet. I knew how to play one game for like 3 hours, put a quarter in, generate health, and for almost a year, hiding right under their nose, because Coney Island's right next to Brighton Beach for the people that don't know anything about Brooklyn. And Coney Island's also where I was born and grew up before I moved to Flatbush. I moved to Flatbush when I was 9, so I'm all ghetto. So finally, they found out because a truant, said and this and that. So, and my mom still doesn't know. She still never knew. And I told my father later before he passed away. And but my point is, there are so many things that happen to people that are bullied. There are people that kills their self-esteem. Every time they get teased, it's like they're supposed to. It's like they find their place and get teased. And then there's some people that just keep it inside until they explode. And when they explode, and when you respond disproportionately, people look at you like, what the fuck is wrong with him? Oh my God, Jason went crazy. No, in that situation, Jason went Jason. So this whole bullying thing, and it's so weird because I thought I was getting somewhere, and I totally drove us both off the cliff.
No, that was great.
But I guess I can finish the same way I started. I hate fucking bullies. Just because you're gonna pick on someone because they're different or because you're bigger and this and that, bullshit. I fucking hate bullies. And now I'm gonna breathe.
So that's great. That's good. I never knew that story. That's a great story.
I
Well, and
couldn't
this is
fight. I couldn't fight, but I was strong. In
yeah.
high
Oh
school, I
yeah.
was 255 pounds.
Oh yeah.
I was a big, barrel bodied, long armed, skinny armed, big handed dude. I couldn't fight. My father found out about it and he taught me how to box because my father was in the finals in Golden Gloves a few years ago, semi. So my father
Oh
knew how to use his hands, and but so I knew how to fight, but I was still scared. And
yeah.
then and then the military, I joined the military, and that just knocked all that whole fear thing, and I don't,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That'll do it.
yeah.
Well, and this is why I feel what I'm doing is really important because obviously hurt people, right? So whatever that Russian kid was going through, it was going through something. You know, he had some going on, and he took that on out on you. And whether it was bad parenting or bad environment or bad something, this was his way of feeling powerful. And who knows what he's up to?
He was so tiny, dude.
Who knows
He was
that
so
he has
tiny. He was
more
like five foot
complex?
six,
Yeah,
and oh my
but
god.
so this is what I'm. This is why I'm. This is what gets me up in the morning. So knowing that, and knowing that with technology and nanotechnology and cybernetics, and what we have with our phones, and what we have with our media, and what we have with all the things that are happening now, we as a human race are moving so quickly into technology. We have uh, a real disconnect with our emotional lives because now we're so isolated in many ways. Um, so I am focused on how do I foster empathy in humanity? How do I get people to care about each other? And that sounds really, Disney and horrible, but how do you do that in the coolest possible way? So about this is I'm so glad that you told me that story about 2 years ago when Black Panther and Wonder Woman came out, a year and a half, 2 years ago when um, the kids that I was working with in Harlem lost their minds. They loved it because, first of all, like Black pride, like Black excellence, right? That this amazing superhero came out
From the
and
motherland too.
from the
Woo!
motherland, right? And then Wonder Woman came out, totally kick ass, So I thought, because I was going to the United Nations a bunch with Nexus, I thought, how do we give them kick ass superheroes like Black Panther and Wonder Woman, but also how do we give them more of the power? Like in Minecraft, they're creating things in Minecraft. They're doing things. They're creating music videos. They're doing stuff. How do we give them the opportunity to be part of a Marvel-like universe? How do we do that? How do we get them involved and invested in something like that they care about? Because everyone loves superheroes.
Right.
Everybody loves superheroes.
Oh man, that was my whole life. It's my
That's your
childhood.
whole life. So actually, I'm gonna ask you. This will be really fun for you. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. Okay. I'm gonna turn it on you. All
Well,
right.
it's a podcast, so it's not an interview. So,
All right.
so
Here we
do
go.
it.
Who is your favorite superhero and why?
um, Basically anybody from the X Men. I'll give you a specific character later. It's because X Men predicated their forte was protecting and defending a world that despises and hates them because they're different, and
That's
that's why.
good.
And
Who's one?
so I can go Wolverine, severely misunderstood. I can go any of the X Men, but because Wolverine's the most popular one and the most intriguing one, and doesn't give a fuck what anyone thinks, I guess Wolverine.
Great. That's a great
But
answer.
because they're mutants and because of their what who and what they were, any of them. Storm, I could pick Storm. She's a Cairo. She was a thief from Cairo, Egypt that turned her life around. I could pick Rogue, and every time she touched someone, she absorbed their powers and memories and almost killed them, so she couldn't touch anybody. I could pick
Great.
Beast. He
You did
turned
it.
blue. He mutated and turned blue for Christ's sakes. Any of the X Men, but childhood superheroes were Spider Man. like childhood superheroes were anybody human. They weren't anyone superhuman. I always worshipped people who were everyday people who could become superheroes, as opposed to someone like Superman who's from another planet. Where if you watch Kill Bill, his costume wasn't a Superman outfit. His costume was the Clark Kent outfit.
Yes.
It was his
Yes.
way
Yeah.
of disguising himself and conveying how pathetic us as human beings are. I don't know if I want that guy as my superhero.
That's
Gee,
great. That's
thanks.
great.
You're gonna save us all? Fuck you. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. What is one quirky thing that you can do? Can you rap, beatbox, do voices, impressions, sounds? One thing.
I'm very good at musicals. I'm good at singing. I'm
Let
good
me
at
hear
singing.
something.
I hear the ticking of the clock. I'm lying here, the room's pitch dark. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay.
And I
What
used
is
to
one?
beatbox in high school, you know. Oh,
Yeah.
baby, you. Take me out to the ball game.
Yeah.
I said, buy me some peanuts. Buy me some peanuts. Buy me. Buy me. Buy me. Buy me. Buy me. Buy me. Or take. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Quirky.
Actually,
I guess.
no,
I mean, some would consider that quirky. That's normal.
that's
That's. I
great.
had to
Yeah. And
reach
I'm
for that because
actually
to me
working
that's
with
normal.
Roswell in some capacity right now.
Yep.
What is one superhero power that you want?
I want to freaking be able to move objects with my mind.
Yes. Telekinesis.
Telekinesis, like Jean Grey, very powerful telekinetic. X-ray vision's nice, but I mean, metaphorically, since I already can see through the bullshit, I mean, technically, I got X-ray vision already. So,
Great. Love it. Okay. What is your superhero power now, Jason DeBelius?
I make everybody feel safe that I'm around. I can give you a hug. Someone smaller than me, I put them in my arms, and they feel safe. Like nothing in the world can hurt them. Not on my watch. Um, I can have a conversation and people feel safe talking to me. The whole reason why this podcast took off is there are certain things like volleyball players. Volleyball players got in trouble saying things on my show. You know, I got a guy that was banned by the AVP for 2 years because he just there was a feud going on between AVP and Kerry Walsh about people contracted players playing out for outside franchises, and this guy's complaint was, look, you guys only have 8 tournaments a year. You know, we used to have 16. We have to. I don't want to call myself a professional, and I'm living in my mom's garage. We're elite athletes. We train just as hard as the big three. Baseball, they train hard. Volleyball players train harder than baseball players. And we know the salary difference. So he got banned because the owner, Donald's son, got a mixed message. Donaldson didn't even hear the podcast. He didn't say anything bad about the podcast. He said my argument is when the AVP is not in season, we have to be able to make money.
Yeah, of
I mean, I
course.
live in California. It's an all year round sport, and Platform 1440, a league that Kerry Walsh developed, the purse money is just the same, and some of the tournaments are more than the
Mhm.
AVP. And one of the tournaments was a co-promotion, like FIVB. So now you got FIVB points, chance to go to the Olympics and international recognition. So you got to Bill Kalinsky, I'm gonna just say it because he's back in the AVP now. All right.
Wow,
Um,
that's
and,
not that's
and me,
tough.
honestly, I think that's probably what got me decredentialed. I used to do media for volleyball one on one, and then I'm not getting credentialed by the AVP, but I talked to the owner, not the owner. I talked to the guy who runs it, Jeff Conover, and Jeff Conover said he never had a problem with my critique with the AVP because my critique was never unfair. I'm not talking about why they suck. I'm not saying Donald's son should go off and die. But I don't. It's a podcast, and I don't hold back from what I have to say. I'm not this way because I'm on camera. I'm on camera because I'm this way. So I mean,
Hey,
so
that's
um,
good.
so and I mean, Nate, if I did it everybody else's way, do you have any idea how rich I'd be right now? If I sucked up, if I just did it the way everybody else say I'm supposed to do it, do you have any idea how far ahead of the game I'd be right now?
Mm,
And that's why people feel safe around me.
that's great.
My
That's a
my
great.
my superpower is I can physically and mentally, psychologically make you feel safe.
That's great. Who would win in a fight, DC or Marvel?
Marvel.
Ooh, any real life superheroes that you know besides your mom and dad?
Neither of them are superheroes. Sorry, my dad mostly because my dad taught me how to be a man. I'm son of an iron worker. My first job was 14 years old. I'm his assistant, cutting steel, reading blueprints and stuff. So he taught me how to work hard. I didn't know how to work hard. I was a kid from the ghetto. I didn't know how to work hard.
Mm.
Real life superhero is Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, and Jesse Ventura. Joe Rogan, because he's the conscience of the United States of America. He doesn't speak as a Democrat. He doesn't speak as a Republican. And it's weird because every time he says something nice about Democrats, I'm like, oh my God, he's one of us. And then next thing you know, he's got Ted Nugent talking about, hey, the pesticides for vegetables are killing squirrels. Oh my God. And then Joe talks about hunting. He's a right wing nut. So anyone that tries to look at this guy from a political perspective has no idea, and that's exactly the kind of guy you want in your life. That's the conscience. I'm predicating my whole podcast on him. Well, I get political sometimes, but Joe Rogan's my hero, and Jesse Ventura is my hero. Jesse Ventura is an ex-frogman turned, which is a division from the Navy SEALs, who became a wrestler. He was a bodyguard for Anthrax, one of those rock groups, and then didn't
I
like
didn't know that.
he's in Minnesota, right? And didn't like what was going on, and he said, "All right, I'm going to do something about it. You'd like this because you're an activism guy. I want to do something about it. I don't like what's going on in Brooklyn, Minnesota. I'm going to run for mayor." And then he won. I don't like what's going on in my state. I think education should be better. I want a rail line. What the hell are we spending our money on? I'm going to run for governor. He polled it at 9%, which got him into debates. And if he could debate him, he could beat him. And then he became governor.
Yep.
So these are my heroes. That guy, 1 year of college. I mean,
That's
it's real
how
easy for someone to be a hero when everything is just fucking handed to them. And for those people, I'm not illing out on them either, Nate. I mean, if you're lucky enough, if you're born where you already have an advantage and you use it, cool. That we're on the same team. But
there's a great
but I'm not gonna
there's
make
a
the leap that those are my heroes.
right. There's a great experiment that teachers do with kids where they have them uh, they have a trash can and they have the front row. They said, okay, in the front row, crumble up some paper and throw it into the garbage. And they all, make it into the garbage. Say, okay, second row, crumble it, and they throw it. And then they keep doing okay. And then like one person misses it in the second row, and then third, fourth, fifth row. By the time they get to the sixth row, like maybe one or two people are making that from the back of the room. And they said, so that's great. What that is privilege. It's not your fault you're in the front row and you have an easier shot, but you have to acknowledge that it's a harder shot from that sixth row.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great lesson on privilege. What are you going to do with this advantage that you have? Are you going to make it easier for people with the harder shot?
Yep.
I love that.
And then this is why I can't be left or right. I mean, people ask me what's my political party, and I was a independent for a while. Then I was a Democrat for a while because you had to be in the primaries to vote for a certain candidate. You had to register Democrat in New York.
Yeah.
You couldn't be but I'm not no party preference right now, but I do lean more left than right. I do believe in the concept. You'll like this if you are fortunate enough to take the elevator to the penthouse, push lobby, send it back down.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of
Push
one of my
lobby, send it back down. Sorry.
yeah, no, I mean that for me is the greatest crime on earth are the haves that are sitting on their gold like dragons when they could truly make a huge difference. So I admire people that are doing stuff with their power and wealth.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah, but who's yours? Who's your hero?
who's my everyday hero? Um, no, my everyday hero is I guess one of my good friends is her name is April Tam Smith, and she works for JP Morgan Chase, but she also in her day job, her night job is she founded a restaurant that gives 100% of its profits to charity. And
Ooh, my hero.
and crazy, and they give a lot of it to Haiti. So she's impacting lots and lots of people down in Haiti. And she's showing people in the banking world what you can do with your power and money, and just an amazing human, just incredible. Okay, what is your passion, Jay DeBilius?
My passion is volleyball, performing, albeit theater. I'm thinking about getting into film. I've never done a film. Everything I've done was on stage, if you remember, as a Marymount Manhattan, and I've done more out of work stuff during the school year than I have after I graduated because I got sucked back into volleyball. I got the city college coaching job, and then got firewalls from theater, and I don't know how to get back in, but I'm figuring that out. Twice a week
Nice,
I sing karaoke because karaoke makes me sane. There
nice.
and you're like this from a psychological perspective. Sometimes you want to do your jobs and sometimes you don't, but there's certain things you do X amount of times out of the week that if you do these things and you relieve that stress, it allows you to function at your job like a normal mammal. So when my passion became my career, or my escapism became my career, I needed another escapism because sometimes things don't always go your way. And if your strength is your weakness, which is I personalize my work, if your strength and your weakness are the same thing, and at your lowest moment, it just hurts. It hurts too much. So you need an outlet. And every Monday and Thursday, I sing karaoke. It's Tower 12 and Hennessy's, anything. The Rocky Horror Picture Show, Sweet Transvestite, No Diggity, and then it allows me to do my job as a volleyball coach and commentator like a mammal. It's normal.
Yeah,
You know,
buddy.
I
Uh,
like Nate. Before you ask your next question, the other reason why I like what you're doing is because it's important that kids are still able to feel. So feeling good is one thing. Feeling bad is whatever. But feeling bad is not the worst feeling. The worst feeling is when you don't feel that anymore. Okay, New Yorkers generally feel everybody around them. That's why everybody calls us like the most uptight people you ever met in their life. Because if on the train, just walking by someone, interacting, sitting next to someone, we feel everybody. It's like we just do. And California, the one thing that I miss about New York that California doesn't offer it. I'm very desensitized. Like if yeah, I don't know. Let's say some guy with a dad bod, Karch Karai had his rolling his eyes at me like he's a better person. Like if I'm from New York, I pick it up and I'm like, man, fuck that dude. And in California, you just don't see him at all. Cali, you just don't see him at all. You're just in la la land. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but it's an observation. But the thing I like about you, it's important that these kids feel as much as they can. They feel good, they feel bad, they acknowledge it, and don't take drugs for it unless you have to. Just sometimes a bad patch is you got to go through a bad patch. That's life, right? You
yeah,
got to break some eggs and make an omelet.
you're right. But with the technology that exists now, and with what we know about people's emotional journeys, there are ways that we can definitely help and
Hmm.
give tools for them to work through their issues,
Yep.
and a way that we can craft entertainment and craft fun in a really cool way. The what I'm doing with the superhero universe, I don't want education anywhere near it. I don't want them to think that they're being handled or they're being. It's just going to be kick ass. It's going to be
Yeah.
X-Men meets Assassin's Creed. And if they pick up stuff about other cultures and start learning about other people, awesome. That would be a win, because right now, a kid from Brooklyn doesn't know a kid from Upper West Side, doesn't know a kid from China, doesn't know a kid from Canada or Brazil or whatever. They're all just people on a screen, and those people are different than me. So if you get them to collaborate and just game together, then you're going to be onto something and get people to just start knowing who each other are.
Yeah. And people out there listening right now, vet your studies, okay? You see something that says studies show this, studies show that, vet your freaking studies, okay? I'll give you it's a volleyball podcast. I'll give you an example. Argument about midline passing and this and that. Someone was like, studies shows that midline passing doesn't really help you with your game and this and that. And I'm like, okay, what was the study? Was it outdoor volleyball? Because we're talking about beach volleyball. And it's like, no, it was indoor. Cool. Was it a men's team? No, it was a women's team. Cool. Was it a D1 program? No, it's D2. How long you do the study for? Like 4 weeks? No, 5 days. And I'm like, so studies show what? So I always tell people the lesson of the day: vet your studies. If someone tells you studies show, ask them what the study is, ask them what the lurking variables are, ask them what the margin for error is, plus or minus, and then There are levels. All right. There's you. I'm not going to talk to you about study show because you're the scientist. I'm a
Right.
volleyball coach for 21 years now. Okay. I've been playing for 30. Um, I'm going to look at some studies, but at the end of the day, I have to appreciate my research too.
That's
Years
right.
and years of doing practices and knowing what works and what doesn't and figuring out why. And sometimes you study the biology and this and that. But at the end of the day, pay attention to studies, but the longer you're into something, the scientist is you, my man.
Yeah.
Scientist is you, Nate Lombardi.
Yeah. All right, check it out. Ready?
Yep.
Lightning round, one or two words. Would you rather fly or teleport?
Teleport. What?
Are you an introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert!
Would you rather choose Wolverine or Cyclops?
Wolverine, even though Cyclops will blast his
Do
hand off.
you do you prefer sweet or salty?
Sweet. It's a sweet
Bat-
one.
Batman or Iron Man?
Iron Man.
YouTube or Netflix?
YouTube.
Wonder Woman or Captain Marvel?
Wonder Woman's just so fucking hot. You said one word. Sorry.
Super strength or super smart?
Super strength. I'm already smart.
And do you have a favorite illustrator or comic book writer out there that you love?
No.
Maybe your child? No? Okay. How about a favorite actor or someone that you admire besides Joe Rogan and Jesse Ventura?
First actor that comes to my mind, maybe not my favorite one because it's lightning round, Denzel Washington.
Great.
I really like. He's one of the hardest working guys in the business, and he performs like he's performing for a contract, like he don't already have his money. He's like LeBron James. You ever see the way LeBron James plays? LeBron James like he's plays like he's playing for a contract, like he don't have his money. Some people that get their money, and you kind of see, no, like Denzel performs like he doesn't have his money, like he's gonna get paid later.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
That is great.
And I like him because he flies under the radar. He don't get caught up in all this social mess. To him, it's about what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. You know, no decent woman's person is completely one or the other. You know, listen. You know, let it swirl in your head, then form a
Yeah,
response. Says Chris
yeah,
Rock.
for sure.
I like that
That's
lightning
great.
round.
What?
I like that lightning round. How about
You
you?
like that?
You super strength or super intelligent?
The knucklehead me wants super strength, but
Mm,
thinking about it, stepping back and thinking about, well, if I were super smart, I don't need strength,
right.
right? Because you can you know what's coming,
It's true.
uh,
Yep.
right? It's kind of like when Thor and Iron Man are like, "Oh, what are you without your suit?" Right?
Yeah, he
A
says
billionaire
millionaire.
philanthropist,
Yeah.
right?
Well, how about
What
Captain
would that
America's
suit?
response? Do you remember what he said after that? He said, "I know guys
It
that are
doesn't
none."
mean
No,
shit,
no,
right?
he said, "I know guys that are none of those things worth 10 of you."
Yeah.
Did that get under his freaking skin or what? Oh, the best part of you came out of a test tube. You know, he had felt like he had to get back at him. And you know what? That hurt his feelings because he knows that's true, and he knows that you're special, but you're also a type of person. And Captain America was talking about a different type of person. Okay, you know, he's not blessed with intelligence. Didn't have the advantage, didn't have a rich father, and he's still a better human being than you. Why? Worth 10 of you. I know guys who are none of those things worth 10 of you.
Good
Whoo!
writing, right? Good writing.
Yes. God, I'm an X-Men person, but the writing made me love the Avengers movies more than the X-Men. Dark Phoenix, that girl who played the Stark girl, she basically ruined any X-Men movie she was hopelessly miscast. You know, I'm not saying she sucks. I think she's a good actress, and she was cast very well in Game of Thrones. I didn't like her for Jean Grey. I didn't. I thought then that was the biggest problem when you're doing the character like the Apocalypse or Emma Frost or
Mhm.
Sebastian Shaw. You can't throw someone in the middle of that. Fassbender made a great Magneto. I mean, Professor X. These guys were tough to replace, and the casting and the writers and the directors or whoever's in charge of that did a good job transitioning X-Men. Every single one of them except her. And now I like
Yeah,
all the Avengers movies with Infinity Wars being not Endgame, but Infinity Wars being my favorite.
it's going to be a whole different thing now that they're going to start rolling out different X-Men and different in different Marvel movies now.
Yeah,
That's
I I
that's
love your comparison with Batman and Iron Man because they're both millionaires. They were both entrepreneurs. They both came from wealth, and they both used their tools to become superheroes. Um, and it's weird because I think I only like it because Robert Downey Jr. played a better Tony Stark than Christian Bale, who's so freaking intense and so talented. I liked Tony Stark better than I liked his Bruce Wayne.
I like the humor of it all. I
Yeah,
mean, and that is the movie, right? So I don't really know enough about. I don't haven't read enough comics, Iron Man comics, to know if that was his personality.
yeah.
Um, but
Do you know that's my
like,
sleep timer?
what's that?
Avengers Infinity War is my sleep timer. I
Mm,
watch it and I clock it 30 minutes or an hour, and then I hear the beginning when that guy's like, "Hear me and rejoice." You know when
is it-
they destroyed Asgard, and when he does that, I'm out. And then I'll wake up somewhere in the middle of it. Remember when he came to Earth? He says, "You have the privilege of dying at the hands of the children." I'm sorry, we're closed today. He said, "Earth's closed today." It's still funny. I 25 times. Just get your stuff and get out of here. Does this blathering fool speak for you? And he says, "No, I
you
speak for him."
definitely have
Yeah,
such a gift for memorization,
and
and
he's funny, like you said. That means get lost, Squidward.
yeah, it's really
He
kind of
exhausts
cool.
me.
Um,
Bring me the
so I
stone.
got 4 minutes before I have a call.
Uh,
Is there any other things that you want to talk about before we?
no, but what I want you to do is plug in where people can know more about the Groovy projects. People can know more about what you're up to, and you can use
Thank
all
you.
4 minutes of it. But I want this on tape.
Thank you. Yeah. You can find us on the Groovy Projects on Facebook or on Instagram. What I'm doing now with the superhero universe, I will take your interview that you just did, and I will edit it down to 5 minutes, and I will start doing this thing called Comic Book Curious.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna do this to. I've done it to a bunch of Broadway people, TV people, comic book creators. I'm very interested in the people making comics and loving and the fans of comics. So if you want to throw me any people that you know that have followings or that are comic book fans that you know and shout
Yeah,
out to them,
I will.
let me know
Bernard
because
Norman is the best source for that because
who's
he
that?
Bernard Norman, he was a volleyball player with me, black guy, crazy
Yeah,
bald head.
yeah,
We
yeah.
nicknamed him Satan. He just recovered from the COVID. He
Oh yeah, he's
yeah.
okay.
I thought he was gonna die. He said he was in a hospital in Harlem. I'm like, man, I don't want to sound racist, but they don't take care of black hospitals the same way they do Weill Cornell. And I was like, shit, please live. Just get out of there. Just have them treat the symptoms. But Bernard,
Great guy.
big into comic books, and if you ever Skype or whatever, you see in the background, he's got all of the figurines behind him. He's got all the video games, probably pre-order
Cool.
Avengers. And once you get that one guy, then you got 30 more because he's about that life.
Great.
Hmm.
I'll reach out to him.
Dude, well, since you got, I want to give you some time to prepare for your other thing. I want to thank you so much for coming on to the show, taking time out of your precious time. My time is valuable. My technician, her time is valuable. She's not here today. Nate, the things you're doing because symbolism is not activism. Your time is exceptionally valuable. I love you to death, my artist and my close friend and my brother from another mother. Late for Nate Lombardi, everybody. This is episode 31. I am Jason DeBillius, and I say. We're out. See ya.
See you, brother.
Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.